Ant-Man has some of the most unique production design of any of the films in the MCU, and you've actually worked on the three that I think have the most standout, interesting production designs. What were some of the early conversations that you had when production was getting underway about establishing the film's look and style?
I think one of the unique things about Ant-Man as a film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that you really want to withhold the macro universe and establish that this film takes place in a very real, relatable world, because our main character, Scott Lang, is a guy who's trying to figure out how to be a relevant participant in society, and most importantly, keep a connection with his daughter. So these are like real world problems for like a real guy, and you get a sense that he's basically has an uphill battle to climb to kind of gain the respect of his family and his daughter again. And what was important was making sure that the world that the film takes place in at full scale is a very real kind of world, not overly the top fantasy. And that's, we were able to do that by starting in the prison in the Tenderloin district of San Francisco, and then going to a Victorian home that had various levels. And it's a home that we feel like we've seen before or been to, and it was interesting. And obviously there's a long history there. And then when we go into the lower areas of the laboratories in there, you feel like, wow, this is like bomb shelter kind of style. This is really relevant for the time that it was built, and something super important happened here. And it wasn't like crazy over the top, but it was visually kind of commanding. And just that journey in those three places already is like, whoa. Plus we throw in S.H.I.E.L.D. in 1989, and you kind of come to the mid-century monolith that Pym Technologies took place in, to the high-tech laboratories that were renovated there. Suddenly, that's an amazing kind of journey in itself, from prison to there. But where the real fun part of the film takes place is taking the DNA from those environments and going into the macro universe. When Scott Lang shrinks down into Ant-Man, that became one of the most compelling challenges and opportunities to showcase a world that we have never seen before, and also make clear to the audience that, like, hey, we haven't forgotten about you. This is the alternate universe. Like, so where Thor has, Asgard and the Nine Realms, and Guardians of the Galaxy has, interplanetary, discovery and travel, Ant-Man has the macro universe.
You did the 3 one-shots for Marvel, and then you did the additional photography for Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor: The Dark World. Was there anything, or could there be anything that prepared you for what you would be facing and what you would be approaching with Ant-Man?
I've always had big movie in my kind of DNA, and that doesn't mean anything besides any part. Like, I love the puzzle of making a movie and laying out the world that the movie takes place in, with obviously our director and cinematographer and our producers, and in this case, Marvel. But the idea is that I love the spectacle and the emotional impact environments can have on people, whether it's a small space or a big space or a dark space or a bright space or an old space or a new space. Environment, they are reflections of the character. So when I read a script, I am literally visualizing the entire film and collecting research in my brain and starting to shape the movie. And so I would say, working on the one-shots was one of my favorite, times of my career, and I'm like, why can't we do more one-shots? Let's do more, more one-shots, more one-shots. No, I love the one-shots, and working with Marvel was exceptional in that way, and the directors of them, and I would say, if anything, it just kind of gave me an opportunity to participate at Marvel in a way that I was aspiring to, and I'm really proud of all three of them, and loved the world that we were able to create for the movie to take place in. And I think, obviously, I guess that, they felt similarly. And when it was time, when they thought that this was a good movie match for me, and like timing worked out. I welcomed the opportunity, and I was like, this is awesome. I can't wait to do this. And you know, ever since I was an art director, and the art director is someone who works for a designer, so when I was an art director, I was really involved with like laying out these bigger films, and that's really like in my kind of DNA. And maybe it's because I grew up in New York City, where the buildings were huge and environments were big, and had the physical environment made such an impression on being there, that that I translated into the process that I have when I lay out a film.